the TRmôvE, the largest icebreaking oil tanker in the Arctic. At the heart of this vast vessel are a series of ingenious inventions that avert disaster.
You have to be prepared for the worst case scenario.
Over the next 5 days, these inventions will help the ship's crew overcome 6 critical challenges as they race to transport 70,000 tons of oil through the frozen Arctic Ocean to Europe.
Nightmares unfortunately happen. Danger is always there.
A single hitch could cause a countdown to collision. Tuesday, 2 p.m. The crew of the TRmôvE have travelled 700 kilometres into the frozen Arctic Ocean. They're 2 hours away from the BØNG terminal, where they must hook up to load 70,000 tons of oil on board, before racing back to Murmansk to replenish the BØNG storage platform, a crucial link in the European oil network. The countdown clock is ticking. The crew still have 3 critical challenges to overcome to complete their mission. The next hurdle, connect the ship to the Arctic's most extraordinary structure, BØNG Oil Terminal. Remote northwest Russia has millions of tons of oil buried deep under the ground. But the coastline here is too shallow for tankers to dock and collect it. So in 2006, Russian engineers constructed the 11,000-ton Barangay terminal. They carried it 22 kilometers offshore to a site deep enough for tankers and anchored it to the sea floor before finally fitting the rotating boom arm on top. A 22-kilometer pipeline feeds oil from the mainland out to the terminal. Today, Barangay is surrounded by dangerous ice floes. Docking with it to fill up will test the mettle of Chief Cargo Officer Eduard Shubnyakov.
It's my responsibility for loading on this ship. My job will be done after loading.
While Eduard gets ready to receive the oil, the officer on watch, Mikhail Kaurov, prepares to approach the terminal.
We arrived to the Barangay and waiting for the mooring and loading. When ice feels drift, it make us in wrong position and it may cause stop loading or crash.
Timofey Gushenko must stay stationary as it takes on oil. But the Arctic ice sheets are constantly on the move, pushing against the ship. They're powerful enough to rip the vessel away from the terminal, causing a catastrophic oil spill. To prevent a slip, the crew will rely on a special connector, a quick release valve. It uses hydraulics to allow the ship to disconnect quickly in an emergency. Before they dock, Eduard must head down to the bow to test the valve's emergency shutdown procedure.
The test for shutdown in case of emergency.
If anything does go wrong, the crew will need to be prepared. 2007, the Navon Britannia oil tanker was collecting oil from the Stadfjord oil platform in the North Sea. While siphoning the oil, stormy swells severed the supply hose. The safety valve in the hose snapped shut, but a buildup of pressure suddenly caused it to explode. 27,000 barrels of oil spilled into the sea. Today, Eduard must load 24 times more oil than this from the Barangay terminal. A spill here could envelop the ice sheet, polluting this pristine environment. The quick release connector valve makes sure the crew don't spill a drop. The valve on the ship links up with the Barangay's supply hose. When the hose is in position, 3 claws lock it tightly into place. Hydraulic fluid pushes a plunger, which opens the valve, allowing oil to flow through the hose into the ship. If the ship needs to suddenly disconnect, Eduard will release the hydraulic fluid and the powerful spring will push the valve shut before the claws release. This stops any oil from escaping. Eduard gives Mikhail the order to begin testing the connector valve. Mikhail sets the hydraulics running as if the ship were connected to the terminal for real.
I'm open some valves. Now our green line full and we're ready for cargo test.
Eduard waits for Mikhail to initiate the test.
I'm pushing first shutdown.
The valve must fully close to cut off the oil supply.
The valve closed.
Второй shutdown. Нажимаем. I push the second class shutdown, and then you may see close will be open.
In a real emergency, these claws would release the loading hose, which would recoil to the terminal.
The second class shutdown is complete.
Next, the mooring chain connecting the Timofey Gushenko to the terminal detaches.
Everything working correct.
The emergency shutdown is complete. If an ice sheet causes the ship to drift as it fills with oil today, the valve will help the crew separate from Barrandey in just 25 seconds and avert a deadly spill.
Now I'm sure that we're ready for loading.
10 p.m. With the Timofey Gushenko in position, it's time to connect. Eduard monitors the connection valve from the cargo controls on the bridge.
Here you can see how chain stopper is locked.
Workers on Barrandey feed the loading hose into the Timofey Gushenko's connector room. The giant claws connect the hose to the ship's valve. $70,000 tons of oil starts flowing through the valve into the ship. Challenge 4, connection complete. The oil gushes through the hose at an astounding rate of 132,000 litres a minute. That may be enough oil to fill 40 family-sized cars every second, but it will take an incredible 12 hours to completely fill the Timofey Gushenko's vast tanks. Wednesday, 7 a.m. The crew have taken on board 35,000 tons of oil, but the ship is still half empty. They now have just 2 days and 17 hours left to complete the loading and return to Murmansk before the Belokamenka runs dry. Transferring oil into a vessel at sea is a risky operation. But here in the frozen ocean, the task is even more difficult. Next challenge, make sure that the oil keeps flowing. The crew of the Timofey Gushenko are relying on 2 ice-breaking support vessels to break up the ice, to stop it pushing them away from the terminal. The skipper on one of these vessels, the towboy tug, is Captain Vladimir Lizyunov.
Ice condition changed during of cargo operation, and my vessel, supply vessel Tabu and icebreaker Barrandey help and assist of tankers.
Captain Lizyunov sails in a circle around the Timofey Gushenko.
Ice condition is very, very strong, maybe 1 or 2 meters. Very dangerous for tanker.
But the extreme cold poses an even greater threat below the surface.
2 pipeline from shore to platform is 22 kilometers, and oil pumping not from platform, but oil pumping from shore to platform.
Oil from across northern Russia is pumped into this onshore facility and along the 22-kilometer underwater pipeline to Barrandey. There's a real risk that the ice-cold water could cause the oil in the pipeline to clog up, leading to a deadly rupture. To keep the oil flowing, the crew rely on an ingenious innovation, a constant flow pipeline. It keeps the oil hot even in freezing seas. A blockage or leak in the pipeline could have disastrous consequences. January 2000, Guanabara Bay, Rio de Janeiro. A pipeline delivering oil to a platform offshore ruptured, spewing over 1 million gallons of oil into the bay. Efforts to contain the spill with 30,000 meters of booms had little effect. The resulting slick killed huge numbers of birds and fish. The constant flow pipeline reduces the risk of such a rupture.